Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to another edition of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. I am Mr. Warren Hayes, and I welcome you to my show, the Mr. Warren Hayes Show, where we recap tonight's edition of WWE Raw, which happened today, and today being February 4, 2019. I may or may not be confused this evening. I may have to retire after this. You never know. You just never know what can happen when you do live streams like this. But you know what? The point that's important here is that I, regardless of how much my brain may be in fog, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate everyone who is here on youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes joining us live for this live broadcast. That is so kind of you all. And if you're not joining us live, watching us later on YouTube, that's fantastic as well. I appreciate that too. You know, and if you like what you see and you enjoyed, you can give it a thumbs up. You can share the link out. That's also really nice. Very sweet of you to do so. But perhaps you're not. You're like, wow, what's this talk about YouTube? I'm listening to Warren Hayes in my ears on my preferred podcast application. Well, that's normal, because the audio of these live streams ends up as a podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Podbean. It's all there. You can go check that out and subscribe. Think about subscribing. Think about it, then do it. First and foremost, you put some thought into it. Just like, should I subscribe? And if the answer is yes, then you'll do it. And that's really the best. It's the best way for you to support my little gated corner of the internet. It's not that gated though, but you know what I mean. My little garden. It's like a little garden, a little plot of land that I cultivate and maintain. Add fertilizer on it so that everything grows nice and strong. This is what I do here, and the best way to support it is to subscribe to all this shit. So there we go. So thank you all for joining us. And I know but everyone joining me live, I know that the stream is a little weird tonight. The quality, I know it's a little laggy, and I apologize for that. Not quite sure what the issue is. If anything, if you want the purest experience possible, well, you can go pick up the audio on the afterwards on podcast form, because that's going to be pristine and clear and juicy, especially juicy. Tomorrow evening, folks, right here, just as a reminder, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be doing my SmackDown Live recap show. And that will be happening right here on youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. And then, of course, the audio will be available on all podcasting applications, podcasting platforms. So please join us again. So that'd be fantastic. So that's one thing. Then, of course, on Wednesday, I'll be doing my 205 Live NXT UK recap show over on FightfulSelect.com, the premium service of Fightful.com. Pro wrestling, MMA, boxing news website. You go there, you get all your scoops. You want extra content, you want more podcasts, you want insider insight. You want some extra news. Well, you head on over to FightfulSelect.com. You sign up there. You get my 205 Live NXT UK recap show. You get Sean Ross Sapp's Fightful Weekly podcast. You get Steven Jensen, who does the Weekender podcast, where he covers all non-WWE wrestling stuff. We got pay-per-view, retro pay-per-view reviews. We have currently, right now, St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Peak Attitude Era pay-per-view right there for you folks. It was a fun time, a great show. and you guys should go check it out because the review, the pay-per-view as well, but our review as well, because it was a lot of fun. I'm gonna tell you this much: we remember, a lot of us remember that pay-per-view fondly for very specific reasons, and we remember that pay-per-view fondly for the right reasons as well. So go check that out. That was a lot of fun. And this weekend, keep an eye out. There will be another edition of Fightful's women's only wrestling podcast called The Division, Kristen Ashley's podcast. She's invited me again as a panelist. Yes, she has, because she's very generous towards me. I extend nothing but my utmost appreciation to her for allowing me to bask in her presence once again as a panelist on her show. So that'll pop up at some time this weekend on Fightful.com. Looking forward to doing that. And today, right here today, Monday, Omega Luke podcast. I was a guest on the Omega Luke podcast along with JPQ, who's in the chat as well. We joined Luke as a 3-person panel where we discussed seasons in WWE, or at least giving wrestlers time off, which is a topic that pops up once in a while. So we had a nice roundtable discussion on top of that. Man, I thought we were going to make it to about 30 minutes, that we'd have said everything we'd have to say, but no, John he has a great mind for this kind of stuff. It was a great discussion. Luke's an excellent host. He really kept the conversation going. It was a lot of fun. You should go check it out, and you should subscribe to the Omega Luke podcast if you don't already, because it's quality stuff, man. Quality. Go check that out. So there we go. Those were my plugs. That's what's coming up. And speaking of plugs, we are going to do Whoa, hang on a second. Oh no, we're unprepared here apparently. There we go. Bold predictions. Yes, the production value here at the Warren Hayes Show is always top notch. There's WWE production value up here, and New Japan production here, and I'm kind of like just above New Japan. I'm kidding. New Japan's production value isn't that bad. NWA 70th anniversary though. All right. Bold predictions, folks. You know how this works. I go to Twitter on Mondays and Tuesdays. I get people's boldest predictions so that I can add a few more minutes of extra content to the show that I don't have to work on. All right, let's take a look at what we have today, starting with JPQ. JPQ has a bold prediction for us this week. He says Vince puts out a new mandate that every audience member is required to wear Mandy rose-colored glasses. You see what he did there? Mandy rose-colored glasses during Raw. This is an instant success as the audience members comment, "Ooh, I thought this was going to be a wrestling show, but it's sports entertainment. I get it now." And they say, "It's certified fresh." Very good. That's a good bold prediction, JPQ. And we're going to talk about freshness in a very short while here on the Mr. Warren Hayes Show, recapping the February 4th edition of Monday Night Raw. So thank you, JPQ, for the bold prediction. Next, we have Omega Luke. Oh, look at that. We were talking about him a little earlier. He was on. What a coincidence. He invited me on his show, and he gets a bold prediction here in on mine. Wow. Wow. So he says, so Vince McMahon comes down from the rafters on a Harley. Okay. He then challenges the Khan family to a street fight Mania weekend. Winner takes both companies. He's then interrupted by the Titantron by Triple H. who is in Florida and reveals himself as the new GM of AEW. And then he adds, bit obvious though. Oh, I hope they never do that, because if they couldn't get, like, honest to God, if they couldn't get the WCW invasion angle done properly, no, there's nothing they could do after that. But thank you for the very bold prediction, Omega Luke. Next we have Amy O, who comes in and she says, lights go dark. Suddenly, you hear machine gun fire and zombies. Resident Evil theme cuts in. It's Leon's theme. Spotlight shines on a man shrouded in darkness, head down. Black jacket with white stripes down the side. Machine gun blast with strobe lights to Kenny Omega. Yes, but that will always remain in the realm of bold. I'm going to tell you guys, this week, okay, there's a very special reason I put up this bold prediction here. This week, AEW is going to be holding like their ticket announcement event. They're doing an event, and there's a lot of people who are expecting talent announcements right this week, and everyone's angling. It's starting to feel like Kenny Omega's time to pop in. This will probably be the last bold prediction of Kenny Omega to WWE that we will be seeing for a very long time. So rest in peace, Kenny Omega, in WWE bold predictions. Amy, thank you, but there we go. This will probably be the very last one. All right, moving on. NWO Wolfpack for life, or the Red Rebel of Death, says Lashley steals Mojo Rawley's new looking in the mirror gimmick. He is repackaged as the narcissist Bobby Lashley, and Leo holds the mirror for him. Man, we're that close, right? To actually having Bobby Lashley doing that. We're so very, very close. So close. Thank you very much for that, Red Rebel of Death. I appreciate it. Next we have Mr. Fretz, who's in the chat here. He says, Kurt Hawkins will find Daniel Bryan's WWE title in the trash and crown himself, only to lose it to Scott Dawson, going down in history as the only champion to lose his title without winning it. That's actually really fun. I wish they'd do that. Like, someone finds the WWE title in the garbage and then decides to crown themselves. That's a good, bold prediction. I like it. Next we have the villain from Slytherin, Kyle McGrath. And he says Kenny Omega comes to Raw only to tell the fans he signed with AEW, and he leaves. I like that. Just, come in, troll, bye. It's fantastic. Thank you very much for that, Kyle. And I do believe this is our last ball prediction of the evening from Long John Bronze. Mojo ends up summoning Mirror Mojo. He's just like our Mojo, except he's the son of Zeus. Mirror Mojo then vaporizes the entire roster in 4 minutes. Mojo gets Mirror Mojo to DQ himself, allowing Mojo to get the win. He banishes Mirror Mojo back to the Mirror Universe. I'm sure there's some people who are very confused with this one right now. But I am entertained. And it is my show. And I get to decide what goes on. Because I need to be entertained. Thank you very much, Long John Bronze. Those were our bold predictions for today. Long John Bronze. How's everyone doing in the chat? Yes. By the way, for those of you who are joining, I know we're having trouble with the stream tonight, and I'm sort of hoping that everything will fall into place. I'm looking at my stuff, and everything is in the green, so hopefully it'll start. It'll stop being as laggy as it is right now. I do apologize. All right, well, let's go right ahead, everyone, and we are going to start talking about tonight's show, Monday Night Raw. You know, Monday Night Raw coming off a very good weekend of WWE wrestling, you know, with the Worlds Collide tournament and halftime heat. We had access this weekend to some quality WWE programming. We really did. We had some fantastic shows yesterday. Not yesterday, Saturday with the tournament. And, you know, there's a couple in there that you do have to go out of your way to see. You have to check out not the semifinals, but the finals of the tournament. Velveteen Dream and Tyler Bate was fantastic. And a lot of people are going to sleep on this match, but go out of your way to see it. It was phenomenal. And anyone who's wondering whether or not, you know, 2019 is going to be Velveteen Dream's year, holy smokes. They've been pushing him like crazy recently. Like if it was even imaginable that they could push him more, they are. And he had a fantastic match with Tyler Bate. He had a fantastic match with my boy Jordan Devlin in the semifinals. And my boy Jordan Devlin, the man who I would grate cheese upon his abs. He had a fantastic match with Drew Gulak in a fantastic quarterfinal match. Check those out. Go to take a look at it. You know, they didn't broadcast the entire tournament, only some key matches. So go check those out. You will not be disappointed. Trust me. And then yesterday, halftime heat. I think most of us watched halftime heat yesterday. That was astounding. That was so good. The guys worked so hard. Aleister Black was in particular top form, if you ask me. And even if you weren't asking me, it's too late. I've given you my opinion. You know what I'm thinking. You know what my opinion is. So there you go. All right. So I was kind of wondering, you know, if at this point then would WWE with all the success that they had this weekend, would it carry on into Raw tonight? Well, spoiler alert, it didn't. It did not. But I mean, the show did start the right way. The show began with Stephanie McMahon hitting the ring, and what? This music again? Is this what this is again?
Hi, Warren.
Hi, Kristen Ashley, editor-in-chief of Diva
Hi.
Dirt. How are you?
Hi. Well, I'd be better, but I didn't get my invite. You're supposed to send me an invite to this little podcast we do. It's
well, I mean,
in the mail, huh?
Yeah. I'm still kind of wondering how you managed to get in nonetheless, to be perfectly honest.
Connection.
Yeah, internet connections.
Yeah. Correct. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing good. I'm glad you're here. I mean, you know.
Are you though?
So, so what can I?
Right.
Do you want to come? Are you coming in here because I'm talking about women's wrestling and you want to crash this and talk about women's wrestling again because you feel that I'm incompetent and cannot properly talk about it?
I mean, you said that all yourself, but it's sort of like when you get an itch on your nose and they say like someone's thinking about you. I get like an itch on my nose and I go, Warren's about to say something stupid about women's wrestling. So then I just go to stop it like the superhero that I am.
So you're coming in to save me is what you're saying.
To save your audience. There's no saving you.
Oh, all right. All right, then. I'm just taking a sip. I'm just taking a sip. You've already.
Okay,
I'm already dehydrated. I'm Christ. Okay.
Is it like raspberry lime 7-Up diet or something this week? What are you drinking, Warren?
It's just water. Sparkling
From
water.
Your sparkling water.
Yes.
From your hipster mason jar glass.
Yes. Well, I mean, I don't know where the hipster qualification comes from because I think everyone
mason jar.
I think everyone drinks from think
There you
everyone
go.
drinks from mason jars at some point, and I don't think it's what?
I do not. No.
Yeah, but I mean, you drink out of
Crystal.
Yeah, I was gonna say sippy cups. So Stephanie
Yeah.
McMahon. Let's move on. Let's move on with my show. My show, Kristen.
Yeah, your show.
Let's move on. Stephanie McMahon, right? She comes to the she's in the ring actually. She starts everything off. And she said, "Welcome to Monday Night Raw." And she starts introducing Becky Lynch, but Becky's music interrupts her. And Becky Lynch hobbles down to the ring because she's still selling the leg injury that she sustained at Royal Rumble. And she comes into the ring and she gets, of course, a huge reaction. And so she does. So she enters the ring, and Stephanie tells her, before you interrupted your own interruption, I was about to. Before you interrupted your own introduction, I was about to introduce you. So she announces her as the winner of the Women's Royal Rumble this year, and Stephanie says, that she's impressed that Becky stood toe to toe with Ronda last week, smiling the entire while. I don't know about you, but if I had been in the ring with Ronda Rousey, with Ronda cutting those promos, Kristen, I would have been smiling too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Becky has everything to smile about because she's always the one that looks like she's on top. She doesn't have to say anything. She just smirks and she looks like she's on top. Ronda creates baby faces by speaking and by acting and by being present. Ronda just we'll get to it later, but tonight against some roster women, she made them look like baby faces because she's terrible. She's really bad.
Tell us what you really feel. So Stephanie Stephanie basically she spends the better part of this promo wondering if or not this promo, but this segment, this angle, wondering whether or not Becky Lynch is medically okay to wrestle. It's basically telling her, well, you've been favoring this leg for 8 days now. It doesn't seem to be getting better, and you're refusing, Becky. You're refusing to have doctors take a look at it. And Becky's like, nope, no doctor's looking at my knee, and Stephanie lays it on the line. She says, that she cannot let Becky physically compete if she's not cleared by the staff. And Becky, understandably so, because this is Stephanie McMahon here, she says, look, I know that I'm the glitch in your plan, right? I see what you're doing, Stephanie. I'm right here. And I'm not moving. What would you know about struggle? You've never had to struggle for a damn thing in your life. You're just another daddy's girl who's never had to fight anything, who's never had to fight for anything, trying to stop me from having to fight for everything. And just by her saying, you're just another daddy's girl, clearly a reference to Charlotte, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, right?
Yes, definitely. A lot of people think that's the hint. This is how we get that triple threat we're all not really in love with right now.
We'll talk about that in a second or two. So basically, Stephanie here being particularly earnest, she seems sincere. Doesn't feel like she's trying to do anything backhanded. She's essentially just telling her, look, I'm concerned about your health. I'm concerned about what you're doing. I just want you to be at the top of your game because, and this is something that stood out to me. Stephanie says, I want you to be healthy because this is, the biggest this is the biggest match we'll have at WrestleMania, you versus Ronda Rousey. And then she turns to the audience to get them hyped up. I don't know what you think, Kristen, but that was a pretty big statement.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to be the main event, right? I mean, there's been rumors reported forget exactly where. I don't know if it's Meltzer. I don't know who it was, but somebody reported that they were going to be main eventing. So I think that's foreshadowing, frankly.
Yes, but I mean, just I also believe that's what's happening. But the fact that you have like a McMahon out there essentially saying, "Hey, you know what? This is this is the biggest match that we have for you folks. You know, shouldn't everyone be?" Anyway, I thought that was interesting that they were so blunt about it.
Well, I mean,
go
it would
ahead.
be stupid. Sorry, sorry, but not sorry. They would be stupid to not admit that, though. I mean,
Yeah.
it takes the McMahons a little while to admit they were wrong about something, but eventually, sometimes they come around. So,
Okay. Well,
I thought,
yeah. I mean, absolutely. You know, it's like but you know, at the same time, well, we all know how tone deaf the McMahons can be. So
yeah.
we'll just leave it at that. So essentially, this segment ends with Stephanie with Becky refusing to see a doctor. Stephanie saying, "I have no option then to suspend you," and Becky clocks her across the face and starts beating her up. Or what was even before that? Just what I thought was interesting. Just before she did it, you know, she said, you know, if you do this, Stephanie, I will not be responsible for my actions. And the audience starts chanting, "Knock her out, knock her out," which I thought was good. But yeah, so Becky gets suspended. Officials come in and she starts tossing dudes around, but all the while selling the leg. You know, it's like she's not super mobile. She's not, she's not pulling off any crazy stunts. She's selling the shit out of that leg. So the injury is a huge part of this angle. Then backstage, after she's being escorted out of the building, and she runs into Ronda Rousey. And Ronda says, "You test the limits of my professionalism. And you beating up Stephanie tonight has robbed the women's evolution and was very unprofessional." Okay. Thoughts? Kristen, go.
Well, so yeah, I think so before I came on to force myself onto the show, I was watching Fightfuls, and Sean said, you know, this reminds him the most of Steve Austin, comparison-wise, because there were times when Vince was very sincere with Steve, and Steve still wasn't having it. And the same thing here, that, you know, Stephanie she seemed very, like, panicky, like, please just see a doctor, like, very frustrated and flustered. Somebody in the chat at Fightful said Becky's being a typical man and refuses to go see a doctor, kind of thing. Like, LOLs. Yeah, and so then Becky is probably going through some PTSD of her own, right? Like, she spent how much time on the bench because of basically an accident. So it makes sense that she wouldn't just go willingly to go see a doctor.
No.
I don't really know where they're going with it. Like, is she? I know it's a work, right? But like, why? Why are you not? Is it so that Charlotte can come swoop in and have some time to build up something, or like, it doesn't make sense to me yet why they would be giving her some time off. I didn't get to see the backstage thing. I don't know where. Maybe I was making dinner, but Ronda to say that, like, she's bumping down the women's evolution by hitting Stephanie, I think that's really funny. Did Stephanie write that? Because it feels very much like Stephanie trying to take credit again.
Yeah.
You know?
In a bit of a backhanded way, yeah, for sure.
Right.
And I kind of thought it was weird that Ronda wouldn't be like, would say anything to stick up for Stephanie McMahon, considering the fact that they've just been at odds storyline wise since she came in, you know?
I tweeted that out earlier. I said, can someone explain to me why Ronda would care at all if Stephanie was beat up by somebody?
It doesn't.
You know?
It doesn't matter because it's unprofessionalism.
Oh, right. She would know. Just superb, my skills.
Yeah, pretty much. It's funny. I'm not quite sure that they're actually going for the triple threat. I don't believe that because like right now hasn't my memory is a little foggy here. Isn't Charlotte versus Becky announced at Elimination Chamber?
I thought it was announced for Fastlane.
Well, they
Or it's
haven't.
been locally announced.
It's been locally announced. Okay.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. I had the impression that they or I feel they might be building to that anyway. Like to have like one final match kind of thing at Fastlane, and I really think afterwards they're going to sort of let this peter out. Yeah, I don't see. Anyway, look, they being WWE, they've been tone deaf before. They will be tone deaf again. But if they're smart, they're not going to make a triple threat out of this. But we'll see.
I don't think that's smart.
I don't think that's smart either.
No.
Anyway, I thought this was a good segment. It was a good way to start off the show. You know, I like how they're painting Becky. I'm like you. I'm interested to see how this is going to unravel, because they're going to be keeping her off of matches essentially for the next few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
See what happens. But then, look, immediately after this, you know, we had all our Becky. Next, we can get our dose of Ronda Rousey, because it was time for her to fight Liv Morgan. Because I guess everyone needs a turn, right? You know?
Yeah.
I guess so. And Ronda comes out smiling again. Now, if I'm WWE, I am not, after last week, I'm not having Ronda Rousey coming out smiling, baby facing, and slapping hands all the way down. If you're going, if she's going to have the meltdown she had the meltdown last week. She was mad. She lost control. Use it. It's, you know, just like, let's just incorporate it into her character. Christ. You have one woman severely injure the face of another, and you decide to incorporate that into her character. Why not let that character trait move on? Anyway. Liv basically avoids Ronda to begin with. I like a good old-fashioned stall. So Liv did good, purposefully avoiding Ronda until she avoids a clothesline with the Matrix dodge. But Ronda then just punches her right in the gut. Then slaps the armbar on Liv, who instantly taps. So that's good. No, but I mean, that's what you're supposed to do, right? Is when you're being squashed like Liv. Yeah. It's like, okay, the armbar is supposed to be like the biggest finisher, the harshest finisher of all time. Well, there you go. You tap. Liv knows what she has to do. Then Ronda grabs a microphone and then has another garbage promo talking about people sitting on their hands booing her. Why don't you do something about it? Challenges Sarah Logan to do something? Ugh. I don't understand. Ugh. So basically, Sarah Logan gets to fight her. She goes right after Ronda and carries her, lifts her up and spears her right in the corner. And then of course we cut to commercial. When we come back, Logan is breaking out of a triangle and drives Ronda some more in the corner. Rousey has a nice takedown on Logan, flurry of fists, and hits the armbar for the win. So then the Riot Squad then regroup on the outside, a little battered, a little broken. Ruby Riott jumps up on the apron, seems to want to challenge but backs off. And backstage, she has an interview at gorilla position. You know, why'd you run away? She says, you know what? I didn't run away. You know, when I'm going to fight Ronda Rousey, it's going to be for her title. And right now, you know, my friends Liv and Sarah, they've just been hurt. They need me right now. The Riot Squad have a bond that can't be broken. Jesus Christ. Kristen, Is Riot Squad are Riot Squad baby faces now?
No, it's like I said. I think everybody looks like a baby face against Ronda, just because the fans can't stand her. This was like this is a clear instance of the company trying to do what they've always done to make a character likable, or at least they think will help it, and it's not working. Like, they don't like Ronda, and the fact they keep fighting against the stream is really obnoxious. Like, just go with the flow like they did with Becky and let everybody hate her, because that's what she's good at. You know, the live thing was all of 30 seconds. That's normal. I like the stupid. So then they give Ronda the mic and she's stumbling again at the very beginning, like sit in your seats and boo me, and then starts trying to antagonize Sarah and says something like, "Are you gonna skin a rabbit?" Or like, "You're gonna skin me like one of your rabbits?" Or something.
What was that?
What? What are you talking about, Ronda? And then, you know, of course, Sarah gets in, and Sarah looked pretty good, actually. I was impressed. I am not surprised that Ruby didn't want to fight. You know, "Oh, but my friends really need me" is code for I don't have my friends in my corner to, you know, break up a pin or anything. I personally would love to see Ruby and Ronda. Give me that match. Like a real match. Like, not just the squash to make Ronda look better, sort of. Give me a real match. I want to see that. I really do.
No, I agree, and you're right. You know, it made the disingenuousness of Ruby Riot's "oh, but my friends need me" feel a lot more authentic and sincere. You know, because you're like, yeah, you go stick with your friends and fuck Ronda, you know, kind of thing. For sure.
Yeah.
Sasha and Bayley are backstage. They have a quick, bit of a quick promo where they run into Alicia Fox and Nikki Cross. Chaos unites them because they're going to have a match a little later on. And since you're here, Kristen, we'll talk about the women's matches, and then I'll kick you off my stream. So a little later in the evening, we have Nikki Cross and Alicia Fox versus the Boston Hug Connection. Now, as Bayley and Sasha are coming out, the heels attack them during the entrances. And they even launch Bayley into the LED boards. They beat the shit out of Sasha. The officials try to come and split them up. You know what? I'm before we get into the match, I want to hear what your thoughts are. I really like this because there's been so many throwaway women's tag matches, Kristen, coming out like this with an angle straight off the bat. You know, the heels are being heels. I'm all for this, adding some gravitas to a match. Let's do it.
Yeah. Like, I think Alicia Fox and Nikki Cross was the tag team that I didn't know I wanted. Like, they're amazing. They're so funny. Like, Nikki finally found somebody to play with, and calls her the Fox, you know. And somebody on Diva Dirt's Twitter had said, like, they called them Team Straight Jacket, and I thought that was pretty funny.
That's really funny.
It's really funny. I love this. Because the thing about Nikki is that, like, in NXT, right, she played heel, but she was also, like, universally liked. So she did awful things, but she was still, you know, really liked. And so I think that's the case here, is that, you know, people generally really, really, really like Bayley and Sasha, but they still like Nikki. And Alicia Fox has just always kind of been, like, hilarious to me, so I don't have a problem with it either. I think it was a really good decision to pair up the two.
Yeah, I think so too. And I've always been very big on Alicia Fox as well. I've always thought it's always been perfect nonsense. I'm still glad that she's able to maintain the idea of her being the captain, you know, like she was the captain of the women's team last year at Survivor Series, and now she's
like, don't touch my hat.
Yeah, don't touch
kind of
my
thing.
hat. I'm the captain of the women's division now. I'm glad that she maintains that. No, she's a lot of fun, and yeah, and if you're going to put them together, you know, at least that's what I really liked about this angle here. It's that, well, we're going to put them together, but we're going to actually try and do something, actually get some heat going for them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I really liked about how this started. Anyway, it was a good brawl, a good angle to begin with, and probably would have been a lot better if the camera work wasn't complete shit. It was really bad tonight. There was some egregious shit. And I was making fun of production value a little earlier on, but WWE being the multi-million company that it is, and having the crew that it has, shit like what happened tonight, or that spot with Lio Rush later on against Finn Balor. No, that can't happen. It just can't. All right, back to this match though. Of course, the match begins while we're away from commercial, and since I'm in Canada, I don't get the picture-in-picture. So when we come back from Canada, when we come back from commercials, we're still in Canada. Well, I am anyway. Bayley is covering Nikki Cross. She hits a sliding forearm, covers her, only gets 2, scoops, slams her, and goes for another cover. Again, gets 2. I like this little sequence here where Nikki Cross gets a sleeper on Bayley, and that rocks her back into the heel corner. Bayley slams Nikki Cross off of her, but Alicia Fox was able to tag herself in, so she gets a sleeper on, and she gets slammed as well. Both heels are in the ring. There's a crossbody by Bayley on both heels at the same time, which was really cool. Side suplex by Bayley on Nikki Cross. She covers it on Alicia Fox, covers her, but Nikki Cross breaks it up. So then Cross gets a side suplex of her own. There's Bayley hits a rope hung jawbreaker, but her momentum gets stunted by a scissor kick by Alicia Fox, and Bayley is looking really, really, really strong at this point in the match, and I don't know about you, but I think it's a good thing.
Well, Bayley looked like Bayley out there. There's obviously a reason why Sasha wasn't able to come in or wouldn't come in, but Bayley looked really strong. Like she's been progressively getting back to old Bayley. Mm-hmm. It's very promising. I'm excited.
Yes, I'm excited too. And I'll maintain until it actually happens. The audience is just waiting for an excuse to cheer for Bayley. It's not that people don't like her. It's like you give her nothing to do. We know you're not giving her anything, so we're not going to be stupid. But give us a reason to cheer for her, and we'll do it. The match goes into its finishing sequence when Cross tries to avalanche Bayley, who's on the outside, into the ring post, but Sasha Banks, who is hurt and hasn't been in the match at all, pulls Bayley out of the way. So Nikki Cross posts herself. Bayley gets back into the ring and has a little sequence with Alicia Fox where she ends up rolling her up out of surprise. She wins for her team. Sasha did jack shit, but that's okay because she saved Bayley from being crushed in a post. What'd you think of the match?
Yeah, I mean, Bayley did really well because I've seen some handicap matches with Bayley in it, and it's been really bad for Bayley. So she did really well. They kept really pushing that Sasha saved her. So I don't think that they're going to do like the Sasha turns on Bayley angle again. I don't see that coming, at least not before Elimination Chamber. But I really like the match. I think for a women's tag team match, it was really good. And I'm not saying that they can't do it. I'm saying that they never let them do it.
There you go.
They did really, really well, and it took up a good chunk of time, and they sold some story, and it was emotional and crazy and psycho, and it was really good. I mean, I'm not surprised that the Boston Hug connection are moving forward at all, but I do hope that they keep Team Straight Jacket. I'm stealing that from whoever that was on Twitter, because I mean, I love this tag team, and they're really good, and they need more heels all around.
Yeah,
they really do. Yeah.
Jay King in the chat says, I really hope Mandy and Sonya win the tag belts. They deserve it, especially Mandy. Sasha and Bayley in a chaser role is where the money is. I agree with Sasha and Bayley chasing the belt. That I agree with. But I know how you feel about Mandy Rose.
Wrong, Jay King. Listen, I don't have a problem with Mandy Rose. I have a problem how they're using Mandy Rose.
I know. Yeah. Good, very good nuance there, Editor-in-Chief. CM Phil says, I think Bayley in particular needs the win, so I think they will win setting up a match with Team Bestie at Mania. Who does he mean by Team Bestie, do you think? Mandy and Sonya, I guess?
Team Bestie.
Team Bestie. Unless they have Trent Beretta and...
are they talking about Jack? Maybe they're talking about Jax and Tina? No. Yeah, wait, I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, that's Team...
I mean, the only other real besties, I mean, outside the Iconics...
Yeah.
Oh, he says Trish and Lita. That's what he means. No.
Like, I don't get me wrong, they're amazing, right? But like, I really, I'd like current women to be able to win this,
and
or at least fill up all the spots. Yeah, to compete for it, because it's really,
I agree.
Like, I mean, it'd be cool to see them, like maybe like in a, like come to Fastlane, because that's always kind of a, pay-per-view anyway. But I don't really want them to compete for it. Especially not at a pay-per-view. I don't think that's good. Like, not really compete for it.
Yeah.
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 Who do you think is going to be the SmackDown?
Yeah, because that we only have one last team to go, right? We have Nia Jackson, Tamina. We have Sasha and Bayley. We have Mandy Rose and Sonya. We have the Iconics. Who's left on the SmackDown side? There's Naomi.
Yeah.
And Asuka and... unless they toss in Lacey Evans?
Maybe.
Lacey Evans and Naomi in a racist tag team. No, maybe Naomi and Carmella, come to think of it. Yeah. Because there's a babyface team missing here.
Yeah. Right.
So that would make sense, Naomi and Carmella, actually.
Yeah, I'm excited to see who else is going to be in this. I think it's going to be this is an Elimination Chamber. This is going to be interesting.
Could you imagine, like, Lacey Evans and Naomi, and then Lacey Evans, like, asks Naomi to drive her everywhere,
Listen, I'm not going to get into just as a fair, warning, I guess. I come from this, okay, and I'm obviously white, and
you're very for sure.
Yeah, and I could totally see why people think Lacey Evans is racist, but I professionally have no comment on that situation.
Okay, so there you go. There's your professional comment right there. We have another segment backstage where Dana Brooke is apologizing to Natalya for what happened last week, for losing the match. Sorry that I bumped into you, Natty. And she's mad that Natalya is ignoring her. And so she's going to go find a McMahon and make a match for next week. But Natty is wearing AirPods. We didn't see them because of Natalya's long, flowing ember hair. So another quid pro quo here.
Yeah. I liked when she said, oh, are you mad that I said I'm better than you? I was trying to hype myself up. Get over it. I thought that was really relatable. Because I do that too, right? I think we all do.
I was about to say that's something you'd say to me.
Right.
I'm okay. You know what I'm glad about this? Yeah, I'll tell you what makes me happy here. Dana Brooke getting proper airtime. Dana Brooke getting matches because, man, I think everyone's been sleeping way too long on her. I really think her last real competitive matches go back to NXT when she was in that duo with Emma Tennille Dashwood. Like, I don't remember her really having any kind of actual competitive matches on main.
She had, which if somebody had watched my honest reactions, she had that pairing with Charlotte Flair.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
And that led to some feud work, but then she got stuck with Titus Worldwide for what felt like eons. And I even wrote mini plug. I even wrote an article on Daily DDT about how excited we all were that she broke up with Titus Worldwide so that she could do something else.
Yeah.
I think when they let Dana shine, she's really good. Like, she's clearly all about strength, so let her be strong.
Yeah.
Yes. I think when they let her showcase it, she does very well. I'm excited.
Good. I'm excited too. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And the final women's related segment of the evening, which will lead us on to other things.
Yes.
But still, I think we do have to mention this. The Moment of Bliss.
Yeah.
Where your favorite, your top bestie, or at least you wish she was your best friend.
I do wish. Yeah.
Alexa Bliss welcomes EC3. And I was like, God damn, it's about time. Give this man a microphone. This is still one of the things that puzzles me about how they're handling EC3. He is such a natural on the mic, and they are refusing to let him talk. It's weird. It's so strange. Anyway, she sees him arrive. She's giving him some side eye, right? She's like, "You're young, good looking, you have a large bank account." I'm like, all right. It's like my dad's writing the show now, and
Dad.
Yeah, my dad.
All right.
What? She says, I want to know, this is the question. Are you coming to Raw, or are you going to SmackDown Live? And before he can say a word, out comes your other favorite, Nia Jax.
What?
And
Don't spread that rumor.
What?
Shh. Don't spread that rumor.
It's not a rumor.
She's not my other favorite.
That's not what you tell me. When you try to get my attention on Twitter.
What?
Yeah, because you keep sending me direct messages all the time, and I'm like, ugh.
You wish.
And I'm like, ugh. And you keep telling me, it's like, hey, I'd like to talk about Nia Jax some more. She's so cool.
I didn't know Mr. Warren Hayes was a liar. How unfortunate.
I'm not.
You are.
No. Anyway, we'll touch on this subject another day. We said I don't want to keep you too long here. So basically, she comes out and she says, no one cares about you, EC3. Nobody wants to see this nauseating blind date thing. They should be talking about me, how I broke boundaries in the Royal Rumbles match, how Tamina and I qualified by beating you, Alexa. And I like how Alexa, technically Mickey lost the match. She's just sort of like, and I like that. Now, everyone is wondering what I'm going to do next. Dean Ambrose comes out and interrupts Nia Jax. And he says, I'm sorry, Alexa. He basically tells Alexa, sorry, I don't want to be out here. I have something to say, though, to you, Nia Jax, it's obvious to everyone that you have a huge crush on me. And just as he says that, I don't know if you picked up on it, but Renee Young, just in the small little space of silence where Dean stopped talking, she went, "Oh." She just let that out. It's obvious to everyone you have a huge crush on me. Oh, just like that. Her timing was perfect. He understands that she's confused by her feelings. Please stay away from me. And then he continues the segment here where he wonders who EC3 is. EC3 goes to speak, but Dean knocks the microphone out of his hand. He asks him he says, "I'm taking over the interview. I have a few rapid fire questions. What does EC3 stand for? Where are EC1 and EC2? Who does your hair? Are you a Creed fan?" Which eventually leads to EC3 just knocking Dean the fuck out and leading into a match. But we're gonna get to the match a little later. Again, Nia Jax coming out to interrupt. Aside from continuing to make us dislike her, and maybe with some legit heat. I don't know what this really served.
I don't know, but I liked it. Like, from beginning to end. It was so good. Like I probably would have been offended by a couple of these bits if it weren't so comical.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Alexa Bliss's facial expressions. She's so good at them. Like, it comes natural. Like, she says, "Am I ever going to not be interrupted? Like, am I ever going to finish the show?" Basically. And Nia's like, "Nah." And just her face. And then, like, Nia, like, touches her when she's trying to talk to her. And she makes another one of those, like, faces. Like, "Wait, don't touch me." And it, like, her face is just classic. It's really good. Briefly on EC3, I don't know what they're doing with him either. I don't get the mute gimmick, but it's okay. Let Alexa talk, because she's just hilarious and great, and I like watching her talk. It's funny. Nia Jax, I don't like Nia Jax, despite what this liar on this show says. Fake news.
Who's on the show line?
She didn't do terrible. Like, she wasn't as bad as she normally is, I guess. Like, I don't really understand the angle either, but I think everybody played off each other really well in the bit. Dean, so funny. The Creed comment, and then where's EC1 and 2? Like, this is so good. Like, everybody played off each other really, really well.
Yes.
And that's something we're missing. Like, that's part of the thing I miss about men's wrestling, is this ability to play off each other. And they used to do that really, really well a couple years ago. Like, when Jericho was still in there, and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and you had, like, natural mic people. And when Dean was the natural face, even, I think of Cesaro, when they got to get the mic, they were awesome. So I miss that. I miss that about the men's division. So this was really good. Like, it was really funny. And I don't know what they're pushing, but I'm all for it, frankly.
We'll see what happens. Of course, I am not. I'll just be straight about it. I'm not a Nia Jax fan, and it's not even a question about her in-ring work. I find she doesn't have the character depth to pull off what WWE wants her to pull off. I think she's very. I understand it's pro wrestling, and there's a level of phony that comes along with it. But man, at some point, it's when it's not natural, it's not natural. It doesn't feel good. I didn't care much for this segment again either, right up until Dean started spewing nonsense. Wasn't all that great either.
I'm gonna miss him.
What's that?
I'm gonna miss him.
Yeah. Well, in WWE, but he'll be fine wherever he goes.
Yeah.
AEW. So there we go. So basically, those were all everything that had to do with the women this evening. Kristen Ashley from Diva Dirt, editor in chief, who popped in unexpectedly to offer her knowledge and expertise. Kristen, why don't you tell everyone where we can get so much more of you?
Because that's what you want, right? Well, and Warren got the website right this time. I am the editor-in-chief of Diva Dirt. You can also find me on Daily DDT and Fightful. Like he said earlier, I'm letting him be on my podcast, The Division. Yes. Anthony Suter of Smart to Death will also be on that. Ooh. So it'll be very interesting because we all have great chemistry. I have some good stuff for interviews coming up, intergender wrestling stuff coming up. So just be on the lookout for all. I'm on Twitter with all the stuff. You'll see it, I'm sure. Warren likes to retweet me all the time. He pretends like he doesn't, but he does. So
and what is your Twitter?
It's my name, at Kristen Ashley. No, I'm not going to make you put Miss or Mrs. in front of it either.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, who does that? Weird.
I do, because it's my gimmick.
Yeah.
Kristen.
Okay.
Kristen. Kristen.
Sure. What?
Thank you very much for popping by.
You're so welcome.
I appreciate.
Show.
Yes, and hopefully you can come back another time.
Yes.
All right.
I will.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. That was Kristen Ashley. Thank God she comes. She pops in, right? It's a joke. It's a joke. I like her. I like her a lot. So we'll talk about the other matches now. We had a four corner tag team match. Heavy Machinery, Lucha House Party, the B Team, and the Revival to become the number one contender for the Raw Tag Team titles. Second title match opportunity. Let me start over. Second title opportunity for Heavy Machinery in a week. So good for them. Good for them. Match starts off with Grand Metalik versus Curtis Axel. Metalik with a kick to the midsection. Second rope missile drop kick on Axel as well. Lince Dorado comes in with a pop-up drop kick, which is really cool. I'm a big Lince Dorado guy. For those of you who do listen to my 205 Live NXT UK podcast on Fightful Select, you'll know I like me some Lince. Lince has an armbar in. Tucker Knight tags himself in, gets a couple of gut wrench face slams on Lince. Otis gets tagged in. They do a 3-point shoulder block on both of them. It's a double team. Double team diving headbutts as well. They cover Dash Wilder, who kicks out at 2. Otis does a airplane spin scoop slam. They take out Scott Dawson. They slam the B team out to the floor. Lucha House Party do synchronized acai moonsaults to the outside. That was cool. And in the ring in the meantime, the Heavy Machinery guys do the Bushwalker walk, and they crush Dawson's head between their torsos. They pick him up and then launch him to the outside. Back from commercial, Dawson slams Metalik, covers him, only gets 2. Double team gutbuster on Metalik, cover by Dawson once again, but only gets 2. Lince back in the ring, hits a big flying body press. A Hurricane Rana follows, drop kicks Wilder, and then from the drop kick, moonsaults onto Dawson. Again, a reason why I love Lince that much. Hits a double stunner as well. Lince dives to the outside. That takes him out for the rest of the match, though. The B team double team Grand Metalik, but Otis takes them down. He avalanches Bo Dallas, hits his caterpillar elbow. Heavy Machinery go for the compactor, but Dash Wilder jumps Tucker Knight, who was running the rope. Dumps Tucker Knight over the top rope as he was running the ropes. Dawson avoids a roll-up attempt by Dallas, who runs into a shatter machine, and the Revival are once again in a position to become Raw Tag Team Champions. Now, Will this be the thing? Will this be the moment? Will this be finally the consecration that we're all waiting for regarding the revival? Probably not. Backstage, we have Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder who basically run into each other. And Hawkins, feels bad. He looks at his friend and he says, "Look, I'm toxic. I know that you want to do the Buzz and Woody thing. You've got a friend in me," which I thought was pretty funny. And he says, "But I lose here. I'm the loser. You're not going to get anywhere if you're friends with me." And Zack Ryder says that he's been here for 13 years and yet they managed to spell my name wrong. And the funny part here is that he gets a little goofed up in his promo because last week they spelled Zach Z-A-C-H instead of Z-A-C-K. He says, "They spelled my name wrong. They spelled it Z-A-C-K-H. Z-C-H-K." And he's confused in his promo, but he's pulling it up and like, it just makes me so mad. But Ryder basically says, that we're going to work together and you and we're going to break your losing streak together. Now I want this to work. I want this team to work. I want a buddy story. Two guys working together just to help snap one streak of bad luck. I would love that. I really, really want this to work. Kurt Angle comes to the ring. He has his announcement. His announcement. He talks about the 3 eyes. He says that he's done everything in WWE from the European Championship to the Hall of Fame. He tore the house down at WrestleMania, soiled the ring with milk. Let me tell you, I soil stuff with a lot of stuff. Milk included. He said he even met the son he never knew, thanks to WWE. And obviously he has everyone who reminds him how much he sucks. And of course, there's the "you suck" chants. And he says, "Thanks, I guess." But he says the 3 eyes have been replaced by the 3 Ds: doubt, defeat, and depression. The last matches didn't go his way. There's one opponent that he cannot beat, and that is Father Time. And just before he goes on, out comes Baron Corbin. I was expecting Father Time, but it was just Baron Corbin, the draw. Corbin tells him, you did this to yourself. I think this speech that you're about to make, you should have done it at the Hall of Fame. You wanted to be in matches. You wanted to prove you still had what it takes to be a superstar. And now you're nothing more but than a shadow of a man. Kurt threatens to break his ankle, but out comes Drew McIntyre. And he says, people used to look into your eyes and saw a warrior, but I saw fear as I tapped you out with your very own ankle lock. Corbin and Drew head down to the ring to take out Kurt for good, but out comes Braun. And Braun attacks Drew. Angle attacks Corbin. And Braun basically goes after everyone. He launches a chair at Baron Corbin. And that sets up our main event for the evening. Drew and Baron Corbin against Kurt Angle and Braun Strowman. In this situation here, I really do feel like Braun and Drew deserve better feuds. Whether it's against each other or not, they just deserve better feuds than what they're being handed here. And as far as main event goes, it's not exactly the most exciting one that we've had, is it? Next we have Jeff Jarrett versus Elias. So Road Dogg comes out and does the New Age Outlaws shtick, and that brings Jeff Jarrett out. And then they start singing My Baby Tonight. Now, WWE has this impression that people fondly remember My Baby Tonight, and that it's a thing, and that people are like excited to hear it. They remember the words and whatnot. There's this delusion that exists. Okay, we'll sing this song that everyone likes. As far as songs that have come from WWE that people remember, this is not one of them. You know, people remember. People will remember more Pile Driver by Coco Beware. They remember Stand Back by Vince McMahon much, much more than My Baby Tonight. It's ridiculous. Grab Them Cakes. We even remember Gene Okerlund doing Tutti Frutti, for fuck's sake. For some reason, this is like a big babyface deal to have them come out and sing this song. And you know what? While they were singing, especially during the spots where it was either a guitar solo or you had the backup singers singing, there were some awkward moments. I can't believe I remembered the lyrics. God damn. Elias comes out and interrupts 2 cheers. And he says that he'd rather watch Adam Levine, than these two. 2 cheers. He's getting cheered right until he says he's not going to do a song here in Portland. That gets boos. And Jeff Jarrett, in the meantime, to try and get to try and get a pop on his side, he quotes Eddie Guerrero. Then Jarrett and Elias go after each other, and we have our match. Now, this isn't much of a match. I will say, you know, Jarrett looks, I mean, they kept putting over the fact that he hasn't wrestled in 20 years, which isn't true. There was this whole Impact stint. Maybe it's been 20 years that he hasn't been in a WWE ring, but the way they were phrasing it is like, oh, he hasn't wrestled in 20 years. That's not true. And he looks good. He looks fantastic. Like, at his age, I will not look as good as Jeff Jarrett. All right? Buyer beware. I will not look that good with my shirt off. I don't look good with my shirt off right now. And no, I'm not going to show you guys. But the point, I mean, he worked just fine. Everything was okay. But I did not want to see this. I don't know who wanted to see this. You know, a couple of weeks ago, the McMahons were all in the ring telling us about his about the stuff being fresh. There's nothing fresh about putting Jeff Jarrett and Road Dogg Jesse James in a ring doing stuff. And if this is their idea to cement a heel turn for Elias, it's not working, and it's not going to work either. Elias is they're trying to force the heel turn here when the audience still wants to clearly be on his side. They're going to try and force it, and it's going to blow up in their face. And I can tell you one thing: it's not by having him face Hall of Famers that really, you know, people. And this is not to take anything away from the legacy of Jeff Jarrett, but he's not that fondly remembered, and we'll remember him for other stuff than his WWF runs, where he hated the Jeff Jarrett gimmick. He hated it. If they wanted to bring some old guys back to the ring for Elias to demolish, bring back a guy like like, I'm just spitting this out here, but I mean, like Goldberg. You bring Goldberg in, you have Elias wrap a guitar around his head or something, or his back, because you know what I mean. And that's heat, because people really like Goldberg. They'll still pop for him. No one pops for Jeff Jarrett. He's just there. This is such a weird angle that they're doing here. It doesn't make sense to be turning Elias so quickly. It's as if they didn't even try. It's as if they didn't even try really to make the face thing work. It's like, well, let's just flip it around. And he won the match, but what? He got laid out by the legends after. Why are they burying him? He has not won a match in so long. He lost his matches to Baron Corbin. Oh, well, he can't seem to be getting any proper crowd reactions when he's wrestling. Of course not. You're having him lose to Baron Corbin. You're having him get beat up by two old guys who are out of shape. Come on. And the guitar shot, that wasn't a gimmick guitar. That looked harsh. That guitar was not fixed up to break apart. It's ridiculous. Next we have Finn Balor versus Robert Lashley. Finn is still injured off of his match with Brock Lesnar, and the beating he took at the hands of Robert Lashley last week. So he comes out to the ring. Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush come out. Rush has a microphone and he says, we know you're injured, Finn, but even if you weren't injured, this isn't a question of David and Goliath. This is a question of Mouse versus Mack Truck. You don't even have a chance. You shouldn't even be talking about the IC title. Then Bobby Lashley says, I had a title. You had a title match against Brock Lesnar, and what happened? You couldn't beat him. I'm better than Brock. I can beat him in wrestling. I can beat him in Octagon. I can beat him in my dream, in my sleeps. In my sleeps. He says, how are you going to beat me if I'm better than Brock? So he says, you're not going to get a title match from me tonight. You're going to fight Lio Rush instead. And I'm like, whoa, I like this trade-off. You kidding me? Lio Rush versus Finn Balor? I am all about that. I am all about that. So they get into the match. They get into the ring, and before the match starts, Bobby Lashley attacks Finn, and that obviously it will affect your boy Balor for pretty much the entirety of the match. The bell rings, and Rush goes straight for the ribs. Finn tries everything to get an upper hand at first, but can't. But eventually he does start stomping Lio Rush down. Rush hits a drop, not Rush, but Finn hits a drop kick between the ropes to the outside on Lio Rush. Lashley then pulls some interference, and the referee expels Robert Lashley from ringside. Rush then takes the opportunity of all these distractions to dive right onto Finn, and we go to commercial. As we come back, Rush is giving Finn some knees, but Finn fights back and hits an enziguri right to his face. Goes up top for the coup de grace. It's countered by Rush, who crotches Finn on the top rope, followed by a top rope Hurricane Rana by Lio Rush. He gets Finn in a modified abdominal stretch, but Balor reverses it, and he explodes, goes for a stomp, hits a stomp on the chest. He tries, I think, for like a reverse 1916. Like he has him in a dragon, sleeper position, and he tried to lift him. I thought, I thought. Usually the 1916 is it's more like a standing face lock. Now he had him like inverted. So I wondered if that's what he was going to do. But no, because his ribs are hurting, so he can't pull the move off. Rush goes up top for his split-legged frog splash. Finn rolls out of the way. Lio Rush lands on his feet, eats a drop kick by Finn, followed by the coup de grace, and Finn gets the win. But Lashley rushes back down. Finn rolls out of harm's way. You know, as much as I was like, "Ooh, yeah, give me this Rush, this Lio Rush, Finn Balor match." It was unfortunately, very standard. You know, okay to get the angle going, but man, if they had decided to go full blast on this, it could have really been a lot of fun. Maybe next time. We talked about the Moment of Bliss segment with Madame Ashley a few moments ago, so we're going to jump right into the match between EC3 and Dean Ambrose. Big news that Dean Ambrose's contract, WWE announced that his contract will not be renewed in April. People seem to still think it's a work. Well, if you ask me, that's not what... I think we have proof positive here that Dean is on his way out if he's doing the honors. I mean, there wasn't much of a match here. EC3 hits like an STO, but with a front face lock. I'm not sure if that's exactly. Well, maybe the name hasn't moved, but it looked like that, like a front face lock STO. That was cool. Dean tried to hit Dirty Deeds, but instead EC3 flips over and pins Dean for the win. So yeah, I mean, maybe this is the Dean Ambrose farewell tour, and as a true pro, he'll put the new guys over. But here's the thing. Here's the absolute thing that's really quintessential here to point out. Is that of course, they're going to let Dean be Dean now that he's leaving. Because his mic segment that he had tonight was wonderful. He was perfect. He was loose. It was good. Anyway, wherever Dean ends up, he'll be fine. He'll be absolutely fine. Oh, chat says Daniel in the chat says he's eating Triple H's shovel on the way out the door. It's not necessarily Triple H's shovel. Like, this is tradition. Usually when you're on your way out, you put other guys over. That's tradition. And I'm glad we're going down that way. Shows that Dean is a true pro. Mojo Rawley does another mirror promo, and I salute him. Main event time is Baron Corbin and Drew McIntyre versus Kurt and Braun. And Kurt is hitting German suplexes right off the gate. Corbin then rolls around to avoid getting in an ankle lock. Braun does the charge outside the ring and knocks Drew down. And that gets Corbin back into the ring with another German. Rolls through another German on Corbin, who rolls through the ankle lock, and Kurt ends up into the ropes where he eats a big ol' headbutt from Drew McIntyre. Back from commercial, Corbin is beating up Kurt Angle. Corbin gets Angle up in that chin lock he likes to do. Double team stomps by the heels, double team shoulder blocks in the corner. Corbin does the slide outside the ring post thing, but as he's going out, Drew tags him, and I like that. So Kurt goes after Corbin when he gets back in the ring, not realizing that Drew is the legal man. So Drew gets the upper hand here. Kurt goes for an angle slam on McIntyre, but Drew hits one of his own, then applies the ankle lock. Ooh, shades of that match. Shades. However, Kurt does get the hot tag over to Braun, who goes a banana cuckoo crazy, tossing Corbin out. avalanching Drew and clubs him down to the match. Drew pushes Strowman to the ropes. Corbin lowers the top, so the big man tumbles over. And then Corbin hits a flying knee off the apron right to Braun's kisser. He slams him into the posts. Drew slams him into the post and back in the ring. Drew chops Braun, neck breaker, covers him, but only gets one. They hit a double back body drop. Corbin covers him, only gets two. They tried to double suplex Braun, but Braun instead suplexes both guys, but he doesn't quite lift Corbin. Corbin sort of like corkscrews around. Doesn't look good. And that brings Kurt Angle in. He Germans everywhere. He starts tossing Germans everywhere. Clotheslines Drew to the outside. Angle slam. Covers Corbin, but Drew makes the save. Drew eats a shoulder tackle by Braun. Corbin is afraid to be hit by Braun, and he says, look, if you hit me, you're going to be disqualified. I'm like, what? Really? Yeah, you're going to be disqualified. And you hear the ref saying, and inaudible, he's saying, yeah, if you hit him, you're going to be disqualified. Braun's like, what the hell are you people talking about? I do this all the time. I hit the legal man. I hit the non-legal man. We've even done this match. So, fuck y'all. And he clocks Corbin. And guess what? The ref calls the match. I'm like... So the DQ is forced. They go to the outside. Braun goes after Corbin, but he eats a claymore over the barricade. The heels drag Kurt Angle out of the ring and mess him up on the outside. They bring some steps back into the ring to try and end Kurt Angle's career. But Braun saves him. Slams Drew on the stairs. Choke slams Corbin on the stairs, and that's that. Look, this was not good. This was not a good match. And the finish, well, listen, if WWE at least had consistency regarding its rules in matches, then this would not come off as a contrived, shitty finish. It would have just been, okay, well, there we go. That's the thing. Blah. This was not a fun episode of Raw. I thought it started off strong with the opening segment. I thought, Ronda's squash matches were exactly that. I still don't see what WWE sees in Baron Corbin. They're giving him too much room right now, or at least they need to refresh him again. There's no real reason for him to still keep coming out like he's the assistant to the general manager, regional manager to the general manager. There's no reason for him to be doing that anymore. I thought the women's tag team match was fine. I thought the Jeff Jarrett Elias thing was insulting. Finn Balor versus Leo Rush was okay, but nothing more. It was an angle. The Moment of Bliss segment was a bit of a train wreck. And the main event was just very, very stale. All people we've seen fight each other in the past. So much for the freshness that we were also promised. Seeing new people in new positions with some old faces. You know what? When they said, old faces in new positions, they weren't kidding. Bringing goddamn Jeff Jarrett back to wrestle. Where was Seth tonight? Seth Rollins was nowhere. Well, there you have it, folks. That is my Raw recap for tonight. And what an event it was. We had a run-in again tonight by some crazy woman. And the stream wasn't quite cooperating. I hope it wasn't too harsh on your end, folks. It wasn't too laggy, so on and so forth, for those of you who are watching live. But, if it was a little tough and you'd like to listen to this on a clean recording, well, Yeah, go find the Mr. Warren Hayes Show on your favorite podcasting platform. The audio will be there. The audio will be perfect. It'll be pristine. It'll be beautiful. You can go check that out. And I want to thank Kristen Ashley for popping in. Make sure you follow her on Twitter at Kristen Ashley. You'll rest assured, you'll know whenever she does something exciting. It will be there. And as for me, well, you can follow me on Twitter as well at Mr. Warren Hayes. You can follow me on Instagram at the same place. And I hope that you all come back tomorrow, folks, for another edition of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show to recap the SmackDown live show that will happen tomorrow evening. So guys, thank you all so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time.